He's the right rev of speed. It is Jerry Bonkowski, and now we're going to go nitty-gritty on the Food City 500 and what's going on. But first, we're going to check the Xfinity race, actually. I'm holding up this picture for our Facebook Live viewers here. I'm Marky Billson, Tri-City Sports Now, 1420 WEMB Sports Radio, and JetBroadcasting.live. And this is Dolly Parton's Camaro. Not that she's gone out to the Chevy dealer and bought a Camaro, but this is the car that will be racing tomorrow. Tyler Reddick's number 2 car. I am reminded of back when in the day when Poison, the rock group, one of my favorites, yes, okay, sponsored a car on for the Cup Series, actually, in the Poconos, and it does do well for the Tennessee branding, let's face it, but I was just curious. I remember Poison, now we have Dolly Parton here. Can you remember any other?
Yeah, somebody, who was it? Oh man, I want to say it was Jamie McMurray's Ganassi car. I may be wrong on that, but there was a kid's car. I remember the accent. I don't mind off the top of my head, but there certainly is a lot of race fans out there that are musicians and vice versa. I mean, I'll give you another example is Vince Neil, the lead singer
Yeah.
from Crew. Not too many people remember this, but back in the early 90s, he was doing an Indy Lights race that I want to say it was like maybe 91, 92, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And a gearhead. I mean, we talked about not only IndyCar racing, but we also talked about NHRA. You know, he's a big NHRA fan as well, too. So, and then I remember back in like probably around 86, maybe 87, I was out in Pomona in the spring, the season opener, and they had a celebrity race, and Dwight Yoakam was part of that, as well as what's her name? What was her name? The girl from Kelly Bundy. When I play Kelly Bundy,
Christina Applegate.
My wife always likes to joke. She goes, "Yeah, you shared a dressing room with Dwight Yoakam." I said, "Yes, the only time in my life."
My man, Brian Johnson of AC/DC, has competed in the Rolex 24 Hours of Daytona, and he's driven. I actually went to that race, as a matter of fact. So, but no, and he had a group of over 50-year-old drivers actually compete all throughout the day and such. So he's been involved with that as well in terms of singers. And you mentioned some. You mentioned Vince Neil, actually, in that time. In fact, I can recall that was one of the reasons why he was kicked out of Motley Crue. They said he wasn't paying enough attention to his music, and all this. And then, well, John Corabi didn't turn out to be as great here. What do you think about, let's see what's going on here? I know a lot of changes, Goodyear tires, a different kind of spacer that we're going to have at Bristol. Let me start. They're changing the spacer. What can you tell us about the difference?
You're going to be certainly up by challenge of Bristol presents is the high banks, and that's another reason why you have the spacer, because you want to keep the car, like I said, fluid as possible to the racetrack. So, the Bristol, I mean, it's the whole big scheme of things, it's kind of a slow speed race almost, as opposed to the super speedways or the mile and a half speedways that are very fast. So it's just another element to give the fans the close, tight racing they love, and that's inherent with Bristol Motor Speedway. They're just going to get even closer and tighter.
We're talking to Jerry Bonkowski. The other thing is that I understand there's only going to be, because of those bankings, difference what that is going to do to the cars.
Even along the bottom, because of that. Racing towards the bottom of the track. I mean, there's going to be guys who are going to be riding the high rail, high line, like a Kyle Larson. He's just very good, like the high line. Stenhouse Jr. is another guy who likes the high line too, as well. So it's just another element to essentially, keep the field even. But like I said, I think you're going to see more racing down along the bottom of the track.
In terms of his broadcasting, and I can be very critical. p.m. They're about ready to start the Cup practice in about 10 minutes up there. There's no TV for that, But what I want to get to is Kevin Harvick saying that group qualifying doesn't work when you can't draft. And there's all kinds of talk about changes in qualifying and such. I mean, when I think qualifying, I think, okay, here's the one car, he goes, he, has the stopwatch. Okay, who finished the fastest? So not doing it that way. They're doing it with groups now. What's going on here? How soon do you think it's going to be before qualifying is changed? Because it seems like it's inevitable.
You're going to see some change, but I'll preface that by saying this. NASCAR drivers knew what was coming down the pike for this year. Actually, for the last couple of years, they've seen it. And, the drafting element this year has been extremely important. But on the flip side, NASCAR, the sanctioning body, implemented the draft or the qualifying format and understood why to go qualify a period of time. Unfortunately, what it has become, and we saw that just a few weeks ago when nobody went out for a qualifying run in the final round. What was it at? Was it Fontana, I believe?
Mm-hmm.
That really made NASCAR think twice about, are the drivers doing this to essentially get the rules rewritten? And maybe not, group qualifying. I'd like to see maybe 2 or 3 cars. Like at Bristol, maybe you have 2 cars. If you have a Fontana, maybe you have 3 or even 4 cars. There's a difference in width and all that kind of thing. I don't think we necessarily have to have everybody on the racetrack qualifying at the same time. I think that there's a little bit more of an element to put more pressure on the cars and the drivers if there's a small pack, like a 3 or 4 guys on the track as opposed to 35 or something like that. So I think that there are going to be changes. I think it's not going to happen this year in Daytona that they're going to change the rules then. No, they're not going to do that. They're just going to say that evaluate next year. But I think that I like the way NASCAR has the group format. I do see some changes coming, but I also see that the drivers themselves have kind of and the crew chiefs, they kind of a lot of people say they're playing games out there on pit road, waiting for the right time. Well, they may become victims of their.
You're holding the stopwatch, and come on, right. That sort of thing. But I do think, when you've got Kevin Harvick saying to, what was it, the NASCAR exec saying, what do you mean, how healthy is this? I guess that's the one question. Bristol has been very healthy to the Busch brothers. Kurt Busch last year ended a 58 race winless streak. There's a lot of pressure now on Jimmy Johnson to do the same, obviously. His streak is up to 66 races, not counting, what was it, the first event of the get that he won that, not the 500, but help me out, the name is not coming up. Before the duels, they had the Chase, what was it, in Daytona? The Clash, I'm sorry, the Clash. Thank you. I knew that I was right there, but he did win that, but that doesn't really count. That's sort of the exhibition, and that point. Those when I say, and we'll tie it in with Jimmy Johnson, but when Kurt Busch broke his 58 race winless streak, and Bristol has been good. I've got a list here. Benny Parsons in 73 snapped to 67. In 2005 and at a 56-1. Kevin Harvick, 55 races without a victory, and Matt Kenseth again, 51 races just 4 years ago. Those all were broken at Bristol. Here's my question, though. I focused in on Kurt Busch. Over the years, Kyle and Kurt Busch, just like Darrell Waltrip, very good at Bristol. Why have the Busch brothers been so dominant, in your opinion, at Bristol's?
Real simple. They grew up on bull rings like Bristol. I mean, it may not have been as banked as Bristol. I mean, the little dirt trap, or the little bull ring race track over at Racing Heat, that was, that they've always, that's been kind of the hallmark of both their careers. That's where they started, and if you ask both of them, they're going to say they love short track racing. So, Bristol's just kind of an extension of, their roots and where they came from. And, what better place to get more excited shorter tracks. The Busch brothers, they've kind of made it their claim to fame, if you will, that they once a short track driver, always a short track driver, and they've obviously transferred that success from earlier in their career before they got to NASCAR to where they are at NASCAR today.
Well, Jerry Bonkowski, by the way, I loved reading your comments here in Bump and Run. What should NASCAR do about qualifying? What I read on NBCSports.com his thoughts. For instance, what should NASCAR do about qualifying? This is what you say, like Fontana or narrow like Martinsville. I think NASCAR should put only 2 cars, narrow tracks, or 3 cars at wide ones, like you said. And so no more waiting around, playing games on the pit road. And he's got all kinds of great comments like that going out there. And also stuff that, yes, the purists will like without, foregoing the future. So let's talk about the future. Jimmy Johnson's streak end this week. Busch brother, should we play the field? Who's going to win the Food City 500?
I really don't know. This is
Yeah.
pick 'em race because you pick somebody you think is going to win, and then they might have a horrible race and you get caught up in a record or something like that. I mean, honestly, I think that I'd love to see Jimmy Johnson break his streak at Bristol. Certainly before we get to Dover. That's where his last win was at, in 2017. But I mean, there's a lot of other guys. I mean, you can't ignore the Busch brothers. You can't ignore, guys like maybe like an Austin Dillon. I mean, he does a lot of it, so he could do very well there as well. I mean, Harvick can do well there. Truex hasn't had his first win. Harvick hasn't got his first win of the season yet. There's just so many guys out there, and I've also found over these last who's going to win. I wind up not picking.
Well, that's a good way to end the thing. It gives us something to talk about here. I'm going to go, because the Bushes have done so well over there, I'm going to give my pick then. I'll take this away. Kyle Busch. You know that I think that the Toyota has an advantage on a short track. It's got more term and all that. He's had success on the track. He's had success this year. I'm going to go Kyle Busch. So I will take that away, and I will say Kyle Busch wins. Okay?
And, for the sake of argument, and I'm probably going to be wrong, but I'm going to go with the other Busch brother, Kurt Busch.
Okay, there you go. So, hey, could get a Chevy in there. He is the right rev of Rev, or the right rev of speed everywhere else. NBCSports.com, Jerry Bonkowski, Sirius. Now, hey, we're going to close this out with some baseball. Josh Brown has been warming up in the bullpen, and he's been saying, it's been a long delay. Get me into this ball game. He'll close us out on Tri-Cities